Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing the Girard-Perregaux Laureato 42, a special edition with Eastern Arabic numerals on the dial and the date disc. This watch is 42 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. It's 10.9 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip case alone, it's 49.2 millimeters. And if we include the end link on each side, the total distance across the wrist is 52.8 millimeters. Now, it is quite thin for a watch of this size and this style. You can see on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, it fits well. You could just see how low it is relative to my cuff, and then the case flank itself is stepped. So again, an easy watch to wear underneath a sleeve. I would recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters in circumference. You can see down the barrel, the bracelet does splay out a little bit. It doesn't pull straight down. So I've got some margin. I could wear this on a smaller wrist, not a much smaller wrist, but again, this is 16. I think 15 would work just fine. Now, the bracelet's nicely made. You can see it's also a little bit unconventional. You have the expected integration of case and lugs and bracelet, and back in 1975, the original Laureato was one of the first integrated bracelet sports watches, so this is very much from the original era. The treatment here is a little unusual, though. We have the expected bevel along the case flank, the lug hoods, and down the shoulders, but you can see across the top of the case there is a transverse satination, and then you see that transverse satination across the links as well. The links, of course, taper as we move down toward the clasp. The intermediates are polished. You can see the outer faces are satinated here. You can see that removable links are fixed in place using screws, and we have an intermediate sized link on each side. In case you are between sizes and you need to fine-tune the fit when removing links, we have a double folding sequential fold clasp. One side closes before the other, snaps shut. You must press both triggers to open it so it will not open accidentally. The case band features longitudinal satination on the flank, and again that unusual transverse satination across the top. The outer face of the bezel as well as the plinth on which it sits, both polished, with the upper bezel circular satinated and brushed. You can see here we have a screw down crown. We have a 100-meter water resistance, no guard profile, the crown featuring a faceted form, recalling one of the two Girard-Perregaux iconic shapes, the Laureato bezel. So you can see that little cap to the crown is exactly the same as the shape of the bezel itself. Now it continues. As you can see, both the minute and the hour hand plus the counterweight to the seconds hand echo the design of the tourbillon with 3 golden bridges. So this is effectively 1/2 of a golden bridge. You see it right there. Now we have a pyramid, or a sort of faceted Clou de Paris that includes little pyramids on the dial. And so we have a color gradient. One side is dark, one side is light, and it shifts as you move around. It adds a wonderful life to the dial, along with the polished hands and the polished and applied Eastern Arabic numerals. The date disc is the same color as the dial, thank goodness. Some brands get this wrong. Girard-Perregaux gets it right. We have a hacking or stop seconds function. We also have a quick set system, so you could rapidly cycle the date. You can see this is a full Eastern Arabic numeral date disc. Flip it all over. You can see the more modern of the two GP automatic movement families. This is the 1800. The old 3300 is 26.2 millimeters in diameter. This is 30, so it better fills a large case back, protected down to 100 meters, 1 barrel, automatic winding, 54-hour power reserve, stop seconds, quick set date, 28 pivot joules. It beats away at 4 hertz or 8 beats per second, and is quite nicely designed, both in terms of finish and architecture. By architecture, I mean things like the shape and relative positioning of the forms. Take a look at this lovely symmetrical barrel bridge. That's just gorgeous. Circular Côte de Genève on the rotor, linear Côte de Genève on the bridges, and you can see they have a color gradient from side to side, light to darks. These are laid down by abrasive wheel, not stamped. We have black polished screw heads. We also have polished locating pegs that help to locate the bridges on the base plate. Those locating peg heads have been polished Patek style. We've got solarization on the barrel, black polishing on the ratchet wheel. You can see more on the reduction click wheel for the winding system, solarization on the center of the rotor bearing. And then we have bevels of extremely high quality, which you can see lighting up beautifully underneath my finger. You can also see that beveling on the edge of the rotor itself, and there's an Edicron-like system for fine tuning, plus an eccentric screw for very fine timing adjustments. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Girard-Perregaux Laureato 42 automatic.